Claire,
Yes.
have you aligned your chakras?
I have.
Have you touched your crystals?
I've touched my crystals.
Have you prayed to the universe, the moon, the goddess, or whoever?
I did all that at 5 a.m. this morning.
Perfect. Let's go with it then.
Can I just be honest? I didn't really do it at 5 a.m. I did it about 6:45 a.m.
You big fat liar.
Snooze, but I know. I can't lie. Obviously. The name of this.
And that is the idea behind this podcast.
Yeah.
So welcome to Honest to God. But this is our very first pilot episode with no plan, no script, just flying by the seat of our pants and figuring out what's actually going on in our heads, not having a filter and just saying what we think. So first of all, why should you listen to us? Because we've just been talking about Bag for Life carrier bags. And Claire, how many have you got in your cupboard?
I would say about 225.
Yeah. We've all, if you're listening in the UK, you'll get this. A couple of years ago, we were told we had to pay 5p for carrier bags, and now we seem to acquire them, a lot of them. And we know podcasts are a little bit like that. They're a little bit like that cupboard stuffed with carrier bags. And it's like, we want to be that strong bag for life that you can depend on. We want to be that podcast that you want to listen to every time you want to be entertained and just have some refreshingly honest banter, wit, viewpoints, and some incredible guests. Anything else to add into the mix, Claire?
I think you've hit the nail there.
Yeah.
I'm sure other stuff will come out of my mouth as the next few moments go.
So
yes.
Let us introduce ourselves. Claire, you start off. I know you're pooing yourself right now, but let's get this over with. Let's get out of our comfort zones. Let's tell our listeners, thank you so much for listening, all about you. It's like that moment, this is your life. Claire Morton, please come to the microphone and tell everybody about yourself.
Thank you, Gem. So my name is Claire Morton, and I am an NLP master practitioner and a high performance coach. And that sounds quite polished, doesn't it? It sounds like a very professional, but really underneath it all, I'm just a normal girl from Liverpool who likes to help people change their lives and to live their best life in whatever version of life that means for them. So I know success means different things to different people. So I like to help people find that. I'm also a yoga teacher and a Reiki healer and a radio presenter for Wirral Wave Radio on my show. It's called All Being Well, and we talk a lot about the different parts of life, the different areas of life around our relationships, our finances, our career, our environments, and also spiritual health and emotional health, physical health, and it's all in the one thing. It could be looked at as the self-care wheel, and it's all about having a bit of a laugh as well, isn't it? We don't want to be too serious. No. So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I just basically like to help people sort their heads out, and especially men. So we'll obviously talk about that later on.
We're definitely going to get into that.
And last thing that I need to just say, because I'm really proud of, is I am #1 bestselling author in a book called The Successful Mind. A collaboration with other authors around the globe. So, that's me in a nutshell. Mum of 3 too. I forgot to mention the kids.
That's really
and
important.
The husband.
And the dogs, the 2 dogs.
The 2 dogs,
Don't
Levi and Nuka Huskies.
Everybody likes dogs, and if they don't, they're weird. One thing I just wanted to go back on, you said you are an NLP master practitioner. And for anybody listening who might not know what that means, can you just explain that for them?
Yeah. So NLP basically stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and it's all about, I like to explain it as, in really simple terms, is basically, and it's in the world of personal development, is so the neurological stuff, the thoughts that go on in your head, whether they are good, whether they're neutral, whether they're positive, well, they then create a behaviour or an action from you. So NLP is like if you think about it as a tool bag where you can dip in to pick certain tools to help you change the way that you think, which then creates a different emotion, which then gives you different results. So you are what you think. So if you think negatively, you're probably going to have a bad day.
Yeah.
If you think positively, you're probably going to have a great day. So it's all about the power of thought. And there's loads of different tools under the umbrella of NLP. So we can talk a bit more about that, and I can share techniques and stuff like that to help people think differently.
Yeah, would love you to. And the L in that, linguistic. So you talking about the thoughts then. Is it also the language and the words that you use behind those thoughts?
So when I am listening to people or working with people, and you'll notice that everyone notices, it's about noticing the language of what you say to yourself and what you are saying, to others, and about us all picking up on different language of other people as well, and to listen to, how people do speak to themselves, because that then it could show you a limiting belief or something that's stopping someone from moving forward in their lives and coming out the comfort zones to grow, to be even better. Because we, as human beings, we're just scratching at the surface. We are really scratching at the surface. We are capable of so much more. We really are. I see the whole thing to do with NLP and personal development is, once you know that you've got choices, then that opens up a whole host of different stuff. I mean, a shitload of stuff. It's like, I'm not stuck here. And when you see that in clients, and you know this, Gem, when you see that in clients and you go, okay, so what do you want and where do you want to be? And you can see people going, oh, have I actually got... I've got options here. Oh, so I can do this. So it's all of the language again. Instead of saying I can't, I can. It's just changing that language to give you that change in the mind and the body to move forward. So that's really, really powerful when we do that. The world of choice, it gives people hope, and it gets people to go to that next level.
Fabulous. And that leads me on nicely to my story. So language and communication is massively important to me. I started out in radio when I was 19 years of age, did it for about 10 years, decided to get a proper job with some big girl pants on, which was the worst mistake I ever made. Because
did you have to be sensible and be proper?
Yeah, instead of, again, having a choice, even though I was being well paid for being on the radio and I was having a laugh every single day, something in my head was like, this is too easy, this is too fun. Why? I was always brought up to think that we had to work hard.
Yes.
And I let that go many, many years ago, but luckily have come back to it in the last 18 months. So I should have introduced myself properly. My name is Gemma Ray. I'm an author. Like Claire, I've written 2 best-selling books. One is about self-discipline. The other is about stopping procrastinating, which, interestingly, when Claire's been talking about linguistics and the thoughts and the words that you tell yourself, up until about 2 weeks ago, my line on my books was always, oh, I wrote a book about self-discipline, but I had no self-discipline to write it. And that is the truth, because it isn't something that came naturally to me at all. But I have realised over particularly the last 4 or 5 months, that when I am disciplined, I keep my promises to myself. And when I keep my promises to myself, I trust myself. And when I trust myself, I believe in myself. And that has been absolutely monumental. So I've moved away from this, oh, I'm the girl who should have a PhD in procrastination. I was the girl who should have had a PhD in procrastination. And I have changed, and I've changed for the better. And I've realised that having a bit of structure and routine does create some freedom, because future me absolutely buzzes her tits off when today me does all the shit on a to-do list. Like, tomorrow me is like, oh my God, yesterday, Gemma, you are just the best, because it stops that stress, it stops that overwhelm. So I have a hashtag pull your finger out, which I realise, if you are listening in the United States, sounds like I'm talking about a rectal exam. And I know it's not that. In the UK, we say you got to pull your finger out and get stuff done. Yeah. If you're listening over in the US or elsewhere where that doesn't translate very well, you might say you want to get in gear, which is one of Claire's actual phrases that she uses with her men that she coaches. So,
stop using it.
I know. So I work as a one-to-one accountability mentor. I help people pull the finger out, get in gear, and basically keep the promises to themselves so that their lives feel less stressed, happier, and just a bit easier. That's what it comes down to. So author, accountability mentor, and radio presenter, and friend of awesome Claire, because we have actually only been friends for 7 months.
Yep.
We met during the wonderful pandemic of 2020
April,
May time, on an online course for business owners who were looking to, wanky word alert, pivot.
Oh, you knew I was going to say
word. That. Pivot in the pandemic. So
pivot.
Pivots. Unprecedented. Should we have a bullshit
It's
bingo
so shit,
for the
innit?
pandemic?
It sounds so cheesy. But we did pivot.
But we did pivot and we met online, and you know, sometimes things are just meant to be. So I am an accountability mentor, and we were on this course, and there was over 300 people on this online course, all in a Facebook group. And the person who led this course decided to put together people in groups of about 10 into what she called accountability pods. And me, when she announced these accountability pods, I was like, me, pick me. I want to be a pod leader. I love accountability. It's my bag. It's my jam. It's my brand.
You did, didn't you?
I did. But I'm also really shit at keeping up with emails. So I didn't see the email telling me that I could be a pod leader, which meant I wasn't and got demoted. And on the final hour, they had to put me in a pod. And luckily, thank God it was meant to be, I got put in a pod with the awesome Claire Morton here.
Aw,
And then
that's lovely.
I was going to say we had a few Zooms. We had a shitload of Zooms.
Shitload, yeah.
Shitload of, in fact,
That
I
was
think
the only way to communicate in lockdown, wasn't it? Or should we call that reset period instead of lockdown? It's a bit more positive, isn't it?
it's just shit. that period that will not be named. Is it Voldemort on Harry Potter where they don't name him?
It might be. I don't watch
try-
Harry Potter. I don't know why, but there's something about Harry Potter I just can't get. I can't get my head around sitting down for 2 hours to watch a film.
Because
that's another story.
That's another story for another time of how we spend our energy and our time and saying no to the shit you don't want to do. That's for another episode. But no, the pandemic, the lockdown, that is the period that shall not be named for now. Reset. And I'm actually one of the best things that came out of that reset period for me was becoming friends with you, was spending so many hours on Zoom to you rather than catching up with Tiger King or doing a bajillion quizzes with my family. I loved having my Zoom sessions with you and the other girls who were in our pod. And then when the reset period was over and we were allowed out like the cage animals, freed.
And we met.
And we realised, thanks to the wonder of Google Maps, that we live 13 minutes away from each other. And it's been great fun ever since. I feel like I've known you
For years.
Absolutely,
it
and
does.
a whole lifetime.
And just throwing it right back at you, babe, I feel, I know what we're like over the universe. I do feel that the universe has brought us together. And Gemma's been like a little ray of light in my life. It just makes me piss my pants.
Wacky word alert.
Gemma, ray of light.
Oh my God.
I love you. And very honest. Hence why we'll probably talk about what this podcast's all about, and really helped me in terms of my branding and my communication and helping me basically just get my shit together.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Thank you.
No, thank you as well.
It's been an amazing year, and I know it's depending again on how you look at it. Some people are saying it's probably the worst year of their lives. I think it's probably, one of the best years to challenge us all. It's been challenging for a lot of people. However, some good stuff has come out of it. A lot of good stuff, actually. Speaking to a lot of people have learned, whether if they moaned about their job, they now are thankful for it. Other people who didn't like their job are now, looking at elsewhere to realise that they've got other stuff to do. And then other people are celebrating life because if they've lost someone, they're now saying, well, I'm alive, let's celebrate and let's get shit done and let's move forward and be successful in life, whatever that is for you.
Well, let's move forward with this because this podcast is called Honest to Gob for a few reasons. First of all, both of us are extremely gobby. I hope that translates to other
more
countries.
than me, I'd say.
Yeah, no.
Would you think? What?
Well, my husband says I could talk a glass eye to sleep. That's one of his phrases for me. And he's not calling me a crank or a bitch. You lass, you could talk a glass eye to sleep. That used to be a line on my old website. I can, but I can walk the walk and talk the talk, and I can teach you how to communicate to your audience. That's what I used to say. But honesty is a massive thing for us, and that's what I wanted to ask you. That was going to be my next question. What does honesty mean to you, Claire, and why is it so important, and why do you think that is the theme of what we wanted to do in a podcast?
Ooh, that's a deep one.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Okay, honesty is obviously one of my values. Something that sits deep inside, and obviously we've got many values, but honesty in terms of, I look back on my life as a little girl, and you know, when you're really curious and you want to, I was one of those little girls who like to include everybody. I was always looking out, and I could spot the odd one who was on their own and go, oh, I need to include them, and just everything is about people and about relationships. And then growing up as a teenager, I'd say I just remember going into secondary school, St Julie's. It was also known as the whorehouse on the hill at the time. Yeah, St Julie's in Morton Village. And it was an all girls school, and it was run by nuns, and we did have teachers as well. And it was at that time, and I think it's we all have those phases in our lives, don't we, where we come out of that little girl phase of being all open and honest and innocent, and then you step into this new world, and then this mask comes on, and it's like I ended up, because it was an all girls school, having to put a mask on and then protect myself, because there was other girls from different cultures, different backgrounds, and I was quite a strong character, but then I felt that I had to pretend to be someone else, and then that then started a whole ball of, from say age 12 to 18, 19, 20, of putting a mask on and not being honest as honest as well, because I was scared of offending someone or getting into a fight, or so it didn't sit right with me. So hence I left school as soon as I could. I didn't stay on for sixth form, and I ended up getting a job as a travel agent, and then I could start to feel on a YTS. It was something like £29 a week, and it was all about people and yeah, it was slave labour. It was all about saving people again, and because I love travel, and it was like I found myself again. I was like, oh, I love places and meeting new people and different things, and I started to take the mask off again and to be myself again. But I don't think I realised at the time that I was going through that, and it's not until I'd say since having the kids are 32, even after that I still had that mask on, and the honesty wasn't there, the true Claire wasn't really coming out. And we'll talk about loads of this as in other episodes, but it's as you get older, I feel that you get more honest and more confident, and then you start to go, I don't give a shit what people think about me anymore. I want to be myself, and I'm a good person. Yeah. And you know what? I'll be dead honest. I've done good things. I've done bad things. I've done everything you could possibly think of, and I'll be honest about that. But I just want to be myself. And now that I am myself, I don't have to worry about wearing all that makeup and putting extensions in and being frigging 9 stone and So this is it. So when we come together to put this podcast together, and we were talking about ourselves and honesty and what it means to us, it literally, and then you come up with this name. It was like, honest to God.
Honest to
God, because I think it's just one of them things you say, and it resonates so much. And now I know who I am, and it's took me, I'm 45 nearly, and it's took me like the first part of 40 years to get to that. And I don't want other people to do that.
Yeah, that is exactly the way that I feel as well. I'm 38, and I had a nervous breakdown 4 years ago. I wore a mask up until that point. I'd been a lifelong performer and centre of attention-seeking knobhead, I always say, extrovert, the life and soul of every party. And then I always thought that depression and anxiety was a load of bollocks. People were making it up. They were attention-seeking. They were using it, just for effect. And then all of a sudden, and it came actually from learning my values, which you mentioned your values. Honesty was one of yours. Out of interest, what are your other values?
Honesty, kindness, love. Yeah. As in just pure, just love for myself and love for everybody, even people who are my enemies, just love. Oh God, Gem.
Put you on the spot.
I try to. I'm thinking about what I look at as my company values, but they are my values, and I'm very much about serving people. So when you could say customer servitude, it's definitely serving and leading and challenging the status quo and just helping people, saving.
Yeah.
And yours? What are yours?
So mine, and I didn't know this. So just before the end of 2016, when I was, life just fell off and I'd started coaching, never done it before. So all of a sudden was having to open that Pandora's box and look behind the mask for the first time in my life. And I did an exercise on finding what my values were and realised that mine are truth, fun, positivity, and expression. That expression one was hard. It was actually between that and curiosity. I couldn't quite pick, but actually expression is right for me.
Yeah.
If I'm singing, if I'm talking, if I'm writing, if I'm speaking, I'm happy. You know, if I'm expressing myself, I'm happy. So I knew that was right. But the truth one was really interesting because I'd always been the truth. You know, I'd always, when I worked in radio, I used to work between the commercial radio, I used to work between the sales department and the on-air team.
Yeah.
And they used to call me the UN because I was like the peacekeeper. And then years later, when I ended up working in senior management in the NHS, one of the bosses used to call me Ron Seal because I always sit on the fence.
Yeah.
Because I like to find the truth. There's always two sides to every story. Yeah. So I realised that this truth was massively important to me. And then I was challenged on an exercise to say, right, well, where are you not living your truth? And I was always one of these people who possess this attitude of gratitude. So let's be grateful, you know, and there's always two sides to every story and think about things from other people's perspectives. I'm very empathetic to other people. And all of a sudden, it got to like the autumn of 2016. I'm doing all of these exercises and I'm all about truth and fun and positivity and happiness and family and love and joy and compassion and understanding. And I realised that I had hated my biological father to the core of my being, to the point where it hurt in my chest and in my head, and I'd scrunch up my knuckles till my nails were digging in my palms at the mere thought of him. I never said his name. He was called the sperm donor. Even though he wasn't, I always used to wind my mum up and go, please say you only slept with him once. And then you used that, put some in a turkey base, put it in the freezer and used it for my sister. Because he was horrible, you know. He was grotesque. He was an alcoholic, drug problems, not a nice man. And I just hated him. Hated him to the fibre of my core.
And did you not realise that hatred was there? When was that?
That hatred was back through. So my last real memory of being a family unit, I was about 3 or 4. And then by this point in time, I'm 34. And I've carried this ultimate hatred for 30 years. And it was, you know, it was like a light bulb moment. Phrase.
Literally.
And I realised that hatred was not helping me, not serving me. And how could I see the other perspective of everybody else, but not the other perspective of the person who was 50% part of the reason why I'm here? So I decided that forgiveness was the key, and I had to go and find him and forgive him to forgive myself, because I wanted to be true. I wanted to go and forgive him. I wanted to find out some answers and I wanted to get some closure. So I did what all normal people do these days, you know, when they're trying to find a long-lost, estranged parent. I went on Facebook. And there he was. And I found him.
In like 5 seconds.
In 5 seconds, and sent him a message saying, hi, Tony, can I come and see you sometime? And that was it.
Yeah.
And did what we all do on Messenger. I waited for that blue and white tick to change to his profile picture face to show that he'd read it. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. And in a 10-day period of checking that ridiculously many times a day, honestly, I must have checked it 200 times a day, waiting and waiting and waiting, and that anxiety building. And I just regressed into being a little girl again, being abandoned at the doorstep by daddy. And it was awful. And unfortunately, I never got to forgive him. I never got my answers because he died 10 days later. And I then actually ended up going seeing a medium 2 days after that, who gave me all of the answers that I needed. And it was the most important moment of my life, second to his funeral, because I forgave him publicly at his graveside. I'd written a letter to him, but to myself, and it was called A New Chapter on this card. And I stood by the foot of his grave and said, for everything you chose to miss, we choose to rewrite our histories with love and forgiveness. We are so grateful you gave us life. May you rest in peace. And I just threw this card in. And it was like, all that weight of that hate had gone.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the next day, I suffered a nervous breakdown. wanted to break my own skull open to stop all the noise and the thoughts and everything. And that mask came off.
And that's part of the healing process there, isn't it? It's that you're literally releasing so much. And I think when people get to that, it's like a breakdown point. It's like you go to that point where you can't go any more lower to be able to bounce back up and grow.
I'd like to call it not hitting rock bottom, but falling up.
Yes.
So that was my moment where I fell up because I had to hit that low point. My life was a pile of shit. It was a pile of fake shit before that point.
Yeah.
It was an attention-seeking, looking for external validation from everybody and everything until that mask dropped. And I was so lucky I had my husband to help me and pick me up, who I have to say up until that point, you know, I was like, oh, we're not working, and it just, he was everything I ever needed and just didn't realise. And then all of a sudden, that healing process, I retreated, reflected and worked through a lot of shit. Cost me an absolute fortune. In coaching and programs and books and crystals, you name it, I have tried
Angel cards.
Yeah, apart from doing a Hannibal Lecter and having my brain cut out and washed, I've honestly tried absolutely everything. And actually living my truth and being myself and getting to the point where I am absolutely fucking sick of worrying about what other people think.
Yeah.
Because other people don't pay my mortgage. Other people's opinions don't rule my life. And as soon as you can get that put to that point where you're able to confidently drop it, and I think I've got to that point this year, and the reset has allowed me to really retreat inwards and find that space within
Massively
myself.
For you, it's been
huge.
Great, hasn't it?
But like you said, I don't want people to get to their late 30s and early 40s before they realise this. I want people to learn this in schools.
Exactly.
I want people to get to 18 and know their path and know that they don't have to do all the shit that everybody else is doing just because they feel like they should be doing it to fit in. Fuck that.
Exactly.
Live your truth. Live your life. Do what makes you happy.
That whole thing, because I know a lot of people talk about, and I hit rock bottom, and then that's what that point was the point that I needed to change. And it's like, that's good that you know that's happened. However, you don't need to get to that point really to get a breakthrough. You don't need to fall down. You can build and build and build and build resilience, and you know, whatever lessons come to us, we can teach them. Well, any challenges, treat them as lessons and blessings. But yeah, going into schools and we do stuff with our kids, don't we? Because we are in the world of personal development, and I've been in it for 20 years. It's something I instill in my kids. Thank God, because if I didn't do this job, going back to the person that I was and being a parent, my kids would have been brought up so different. But because I'm in the world of personal development, I'm using that to help me be a better mother, to help them to be resilient kids and grow into resilient adults, because one day I'm not going to be here, and I don't want them to have to rely on mum or dad or whatever, and they're living their true lives as well. But yeah, the whole thing about getting into kids and schools or whatever that looks like, and for us to educate people as much as we can to do that, and to know that, again, that we've got choices and we know what our values are, we know what we're here for, so that we can live the life that we want to live.
And I don't want to be, I got on my soapbox a bit then because I am passionate about it. I don't want to be evangelical. I don't want to be, I'm living the most amazing life. My life is perfect. Follow me. It's not. My life is a series of up and down like everybody else's, because why do we think that happiness is a reward? It's not. It isn't. Happiness is about doing the daily things every day that's going to make us feel better in the long run. That's why I'm so passionate about accountability and keeping our promises to ourselves, because, sometimes I have a spreadsheet. I love my spreadsheet, right? And I tick off
You need to marry that spreadsheet.
I would have sex with this spreadsheet. It's that amazing in my life. Absolutely fucking love it, right? And I tick off my daily tasks on that spreadsheet. But it keeps me in check. It means that the compound effect of everything that I'm trying to aim for is moving, even if it's slow, even if some weeks are better than others, without that label of perfectionism. Some weeks my spreadsheet, the percentage at the end of the week is not very good, and other weeks it's exceptional. But all those things help me. And it's about getting honest with myself. It's about pushing past those bullshit excuses and the self-sabotage that stops me from living my purpose and my truth. And that's what this is all about. It's not two women telling you how to live your life. No. It's our stories and the people that we're going to be interviewing and our honest opinions and our experiences of the world that we live in and the people that we encounter that we want to share, and we want to inspire you, and we want to motivate you, and we want to make you laugh as well at the same time. I think.
Oh, I'm sure that'll happen.
So the idea is we're going to try and keep all of our episodes to around 45 minutes, because we know that nobody's got a shitload of time to shit, that was a cross between shed and shit, a shitload of time to waste on things like this. We want to bring you a set specific topic with every episode. We're going to, every third episode, have an amazing guest, and as an extra special, awesome bonus, sexy treat, the wonderful Claire Morton, who is magical. Honestly, this lady has got magical powers. She's going to record us a special bonus meditation that will feature after every fourth episode and will hopefully coincide with the themes that we've been talking about on these podcasts. Because honestly, I would love to say that I sit and meditate every day, and I've fallen out of love with it until I've done it with you. You just like, honestly, it's Claire, the way that Claire does it, it's just beautiful. And it makes you tingly and it makes you feel amazing. So we wanted to offer something that little bit different and a safe place to discuss honest opinions on everything that's going on, everything that we've been through in our lives, with a sprinkling of personal development and mindset stuff in the form of meditation too. So we are very grateful that you've joined us on Honest to Gob.
Thank you.
Podcast number 1. See, we did all right with no script, didn't we? And look at that. Bang on time.
Wow.
Bang on time. Told you, I'm efficient. And if you'd like to find out any more about us two individually, my name is Gemma Ray. You can find me on gemmaray.com.
And my name is Claire Morton, and you can find me on, I've got many websites.
Go on, tell us all of them.
I'll give you my Facebook is Claire Morton, personal Facebook. You can add me or follow me on there. And then my new website is Claire at thepurpose-pusher.com.
So thepurpose-pusher.com for Claire, and gemmaray.com for me, Gemma Ray. Thank you so much for listening to Honest to Gob. This has been our first pilot episode. We're not going to talk about ourselves as much in future episodes as this one. We just wanted to give you a flavour of who we are, why we're here, what we want to tell you, and how we want this podcast to look moving forward. So thanks for listening.
Thank you.